All set, I can just start on that?
already.
Okay.
That's $50,000 for the thing, but
Should we PO? Every town manager's the chief procurement officer, he might have somebody under him.
Okay, I call the meeting to order.
It was a good program once.
We have a roll call. We have Dominic, Tom, Dave, Bernie, Stuart, Jody, and Pat. And if we have any citizens' participation? No, it seems like all we have here is victims. Next item on our agenda, approval of the minutes of September 25th, 2019.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any changes, any questions, concerns? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, moving on to the Finance Committee meeting. Matters, we're reviewing, continuing to review the items on the town meeting warrant. And for this evening, we have the school department. Welcome.
Thank you.
Article 9, the McKinney-Vento funds. I'm not sure how the moderator may want to handle that, but it may be part of, let's see, 9, that may be part of a consent agenda. Since we do it every year, and it's apparently the only way you get the funds for the transportation is to have that transfer. And so we're just referring that to town meeting, and it'll go through the consent agenda
Okay.
for the moderator. And she's,
Yeah.
Meeting?
Yep, yes.
yeah, and she's the only one that can tell us what to do.
Okay.
You have everything, gentlemen?
I've just handed out basically what we'll discuss.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. I'm Andrea Schwalm, Assistant Superintendent, and I'm in place of Dr. Kimberly Shaver-Hood. She had a family emergency, so I'm here on her behalf with Mike Flaherty, Joyce Bacchiacchi from the school committee, chairman and secretary. As the district is making a concerted effort to repair, maintain, and update building maintenance, mechanical small projects, we are requesting combination of the existing monies in the accounts designated. The school committee has voted approval, the board of selectmen has voted approval. Should they be honored by the town voters, the money will support students in our schools for items, projects not included in the current budget. Examples which the money may be used to support for one-time purchases, textbooks, technology, furniture replacement, door replacements, exterior, and small equipment replacement. A list of those accounts and the balances are on the second page.
I have a question for you, Bernie. Unless you want to go
Yes.
first, go ahead.
No, any questions? Tom, go ahead.
These accounts, this is leftover money that wasn't spent, am I right? Okay, all of these accounts.
Yes.
So this is leftover money that wasn't spent, like for the PA system, and so these accounts are money that's sitting there unappropriated for, unused right now.
Correct.
That's all I wanted.
Correct.
Thank you.
Could you explain why the money wasn't spent?
Well, there's an estimate of a PA system for a school, for example, and we get before you get quotes, obviously you have to know you have the money to spend, so you'll ask for the quotes, and then they give you the quotes, and you choose the lowest bidder of that, and you spend, you try to appropriate the right amount, but sometimes you're just never spot on with the right amount, and so things shift, and they change.
So it's just, you got these for less than you anticipated
Correct.
they might cost?
Yes, correct. Which I'm grateful it happened in that direction versus the other direction, right? So,
Jody?
So quick, and I'd asked this before, these came out for capital improvements out of free cash?
I'm not sure.
I think that
As voted at town meeting?
Yes.
they were free cash. They were not necessarily capital.
Okay.
The original articles? Yes, it was out of free cash.
And this goes back to my original thing. I personally feel, I told you, I didn't think it was legal to do it in this manner, that the money had to go back into free cash. That's just my opinion, and I thought town council should weigh in on this, and I personally am not gonna vote for this because until I hear a legal thing that says it's okay, I think it should go back into free cash. Because town meeting voted for these particular items. And that's just my opinion.
Dave, you sure that these are all, from free cash?
Yes, I have the originals.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I want, because I thought the Chromebooks was part of the school budget.
it is, but there was an addendum to it.
Okay, so these are all from free cash, 100%?
Right.
Okay.
On the Chromebooks, we allocated, I believe, 75,000.
That was
for
2
free
years
cash.
ago.
Yes, from free
Okay.
cash.
Okay, you answered my question, thank you.
And Dominic, I have the original copies of the original proposals. And Article 1 on FY19 capital plan, the school district was replaced Chromebooks.
Okay,
And that all came from certified free cash.
okay, but none of these were capital improvements?
No,
Okay,
So we did go to the selectmen's meeting and they approved this a couple of weeks ago. And that, a similar question came up and town council was there. And he stated that it was not a problem unless it was a borrowing article. And from what you're saying, they weren't borrowing articles, to answer that question.
Yeah, town council was pretty clear on that.
He was very
yeah,
clear.
none of the original articles were borrowing, they were all
Free cash.
free cash, without exception, irrespective of what fiscal year they were in. They were all from free cash. But I see your point, you wanted to go back to free cash, and so it wasn't spending, yeah. Tom?
Is any of these, are any of these funds a result of projects that you planned to do and budgeted for, but didn't get finished or didn't get done? So this is all in excess of the cost of the planned budget for what you intended for.
Correct.
So,
So, and the part of the desire is that right now it's all allocated to DGIS. We have other issues in other schools, but we can't, for the same similar purpose, exterior doors, for example, are wearing down and they need to be replaced. There are things that need to be, we
those
need
would
help
have been,
with.
those would have been in the fiscal year 20 budget, right? That we voted on in the spring?
I don't think
But
so.
my question is, if you budgeted this to spend up through last July, and now you've got, and you didn't spend it, but you've got another budget that was approved in April for spending beyond July. So my sense is that you got the money to do what you want to do, and this just becomes frosting. And it really should go back to the town, because the town meeting did not vote for you to spend this money as you proposed to spend it. Whereas they did approve the budget in April for the expenditure.
Well, these were all capital, well, not capital, but these were all additional items that were paid for in this way at town meeting. I wouldn't call it frosting, that we want to turn
No.
into frosting.
No, I'm not, no, but I'm saying that this
So we've
is,
outlined
these are in
exactly-
excess of any budget
right.
that
Yes,
it was approved in April.
as it was here at town meeting, it was in excess of the,
So what you're looking for is an adjustment for next year's budget. You're
No,
just
current
telling
year.
you where the money's coming from.
Current year,
Current
the
year
current
budget.
year's budget.
The current year's budget.
Yeah, that's right, excuse me, the fiscal year 20's budget.
When, just to go back in history, when Michael McMillan, the previous business agent, put these in, he was specific. As an example, the DGIS PA system. If he put in just the PA system, it could have happened in any of the 5 schools at the time, to be utilized. But it couldn't be utilized other than DGIS because it was specific. Now, in the request that they have here now, like textbooks and technology are operating budgets. They're operating. There is an account for textbooks, for purchasing textbooks, they have an FY20. And there's an account for technology, have over 690,000 in. The furniture replacement, door replacement, and small equipment replacement could be capital items. The other two could be considered or operational items. Well, they have to buy textbooks every year, and they're going to buy some kind of technology
So
every year.
they budgeted in April, they said, I gotta buy textbooks in the fiscal year 20, and they put in $10 for that. And so that's covered. So now they've got this extra money to go, is a carryover beyond what they spent that was approved, but approval beyond, less than spending. That's what we're talking about. So it goes back to where the original pie is.
Yeah. This could, from my perspective, this could be considered precedent setting. Because anytime I could have an article for water pollution control and they have balance left over in whatever capital purchases they have, and they want to come in and take the article and say, okay, there's balances in the articles, so we'll consolidate them into a certain item they want to do, whether it could be a supplement their operational budget or purchase something else.
I got 2 cents here when you're ready.
Okay.
I'll take it.
Take 2 cents?
2
All right. Here's my 2 cents on this. Could be dead wrong. What you guys are trying to say is you're punishing them for being frugal. They didn't spend the money. They could have. They could have bought the best damn PA system money can buy and spent the other $21,000. They didn't. They saved money. So you're gonna punish them for saving money because they're gonna have to give it back money. They're gonna have to give it back to the town, Tommy. We already gave it to them. They could have spent it. They didn't spend it.
Yeah. so-
Okay, so they didn't spend it. Now give me, my 2 cents ain't up yet. I'm ready for some more, okay? So, if you give them this money, which has already been allocated to them, then that's less they have to go for their next year's budget. Even though they already have their budget ready, they're spending it on school equipment. They could have spent all this money, Tom, and we would have never got it. So you're gonna punish them for giving it back. That's what you're telling me.
No.
You give me $10 for a wall, I spend it, I get to keep the other 2, or I'm gonna give it back to you. If I wanna give it back to you, I'm gonna go buy the $10 wallet. And I'll buy an $8 wallet. It's my 2 cents, guys. I'll leave it at that.
Maybe they should have bought the $10 one.
Maybe they should have, but they didn't. So my opinion is it looks like you're punishing them for being conscientious.
Jody,
See, I look at it a little different.
All right, go ahead, I wanna hear it.
I'm gonna give you a penny back
Go
here.
ahead, give me a penny back.
A department head puts in for, we use a PA system, wherever it may be, the department head might put that, it could be any department. And he puts in more than he knows he needs. I mean, you just never know. Unless you got a concrete quote, you just don't know what you're gonna spend at the end of the day, so you go high, knowing that there's gonna be money left over. If I just get it moved into my general account, I can spend it any way I want.
So can I just address that? We're not, I mean, yes, we're asking to combine it into one account, but we're not asking to combine it into a general account. So we've outlined, I mean, this money was spent on facilities and maintenance primarily. It was set aside for things that would be considered facilities and maintenance. And now we're asking just to put it together and be able to use it on other items that fall under the same heading,
Category.
I think.
Could I ask a question? When you did your budget last year for all of these things, you know, that you want to now put it into an account for, did you assume you were going to have the leftover money?
No?
I didn't.
I mean, you
No,
didn't go
I
in
mean,
and
I didn't,
ask,
I
you
can't,
didn't
I
ask
can
for
only answer for myself.
$80,000 less because you knew you were
No.
going to get this.
No, absolutely not.
We did not.
This came to
Dominic,
light.
I would just say, I think it is, me personally,
That's okay.
I think it's a little insulting to these people to say that they're gonna spend 100% of what they're given because they know they're not gonna get the money back. That's not the way professionals act.
But
It's not a punishment, they're doing their job.
you can look at it that way.
Well, we certainly didn't say, well, let's save $20,000 on the PA system, so then we can get it back and spend it on
No,
something
you
else.
did,
I mean, that's,
you did that,
No,
everything
that's
about
not
this
what
is
happened.
good, you did it well.
That is good.
Yeah.
So
You did a good job.
right.
We're just concerned with your putting
What it
your,
means.
I understand that, but as you know, I mean, the school, so there's unexpected expenses, I mean.
All the time.
So for
That we
instance,
can't
This is
anticipate.
normal operating procedure.
but every year you're gonna have unexpected expenses, and as you budget, you put some stuff in there and say,
Yeah.
this is for the unknowns that are gonna
And when we cut,
happen,
like,
the known unknowns.
when we're through
The
it all,
unknown.
and we cut those to be able to meet the budget. Do you see what do you know what I mean? It's sort of like we'll put out what we absolutely know for all of the different elements that we need. And no matter what, it is always too much, so we have to go back to the table, and those are the things that get cut. So that we can operate with everyone, right, and work collectively. Do you see what I mean? So we know that these things need to happen, but we're going to make decisions based on how much money we have to use in order to maintain what we do. So often, it's those other things that get cut. We always go for saving people first. It's just how it works.
And I truly believe, on your point, that as department heads, you get into April or whatever, they start transferring money between departments because maybe the police department didn't spend X number of dollars, but yet the building department needs money. There's always departments and unforeseen things come up. I don't think for 1 second, I'm sure you need these things. My only real concern is that town meeting voted for these particular items, and I think town meeting should have the say and for whatever particular items may come forward. That's,
So isn't that the point, we're asking town meeting to give?
yeah, but you gotta get the money back first. If you came in with,
You aren't appropriating.
A
You're
cleaner,
asking
a
for a
cleaner,
fund,
you're
period.
asking,
right, a
you're asking
cleaner
for
way of
extra.
doing this would be to return the funds, the
Yep.
unspent free cash to the town
Yep,
in one article, and then have another one that says, we need X number of dollars out of free cash for these expenditures.
yep. that's
That would be a
right.
much cleaner way of doing it,
Okay.
and I think everyone, it would avoid all this question.
Or
So
you
I
could
would-
have consolidated and said, I want a specific item, a capital item. And that's what you want collectively, these are gonna support that capital item purchase. That's something specific,
So-
and it continues on, the money's there, and we know it, okay?
So
But to do this is, from my point of view, potentially operational funds. And not that I have a big issue with it, my principal issue is its precedent setting.
So hypothetically, if we wanted to get a new bus with this money, how would we,
Well, what you
Ask
would
for
do,
us.
what you would do is you would return that money to the town for free cash. And then say, we
Need
need
that cash.
$85,000 for a new bus.
can you do that in one town meeting?
Yes,
Is it too late to do that?
Yes,
yes.
Jeez.
of course.
That would be a
But
much
you
better
know,
way of doing it.
But Bernie, we're gonna,
Read the bylaws in our charter,
Yeah,
the warrant closed a month and a half ago.
the stuff they're asking for here, we're gonna pay for eventually anyway.
That's, no, but the issue is
All
here,
right, issue- I
if you wanted a
understand you
bus,
guys'
as an
issue.
example.
You think that it's not a
Okay, you
legal issue.
consolidate, you just have an article on there, you consolidate, there's 80,000, and you use it for the purchase of a bus. Easy, that's the way it goes. But you have to be specific, this is, all these textbooks, technology is ambiguous as to what you're gonna spend it on, how much it's gonna cost, et cetera, we're taking collectively these. As I said, there's nothing in an issue as to having the balances on the accounts. That's the way it works out. And to consolidate them, as you point out, as you're attempting to do here, is fine, but it's not for a specific item. If it was for something, a bust, using that as an example, that's a specific capital outlay item. You could have had an article to purchase it out of free cash, instead of you using all of that. No problem at all. Again, I get back to the precedent setting. If you take collectively to do this and use it in what is simulated as an operational account, that's my issue.
Excuse me.
We aren't going around these supplementing operational funds that we did at the annual town meeting.
And it would actually make your case for getting this money for the bus better because you've returned an excess
Yeah.
from the prior year.
So trying to work within the article that was submitted, I mean, could it be argued that it's loosely written enough where we could just do that in one fell swoop at town meeting? Maybe not return the free cash, but say, we want to allocate this specifically for a bus, let's say.
You can always amend the motion.
You could always do that.
Yeah, so that's what I mean, so
If
so
you
it's
came up
not
with the
too
article
late.
that said that, you did right from the
But no, because the article says, transfer of the following money left remaining in the following accounts to Wareham Public Schools Fund for technology, maintenance, and equipment. I mean,
You weren't specific. You
exactly.
can't be ambiguous in these articles, you have to be specific.
I
I
don't have a
disagree with
problem.
that one, but that's up for the town moderator. Okay,
That's the way it's always been, even before I was born.
no,
You think, in other words, you're saying this is precedent, this has never been done before? I think it's been done, maybe not from the school department, but this has been done before.
In my experience, it's always been, the article refers to something specific. You can consolidate these balances, that's not an issue. You can purchase something, that's not an issue. But you have to be specific as what you're gonna spend it on.
I think a few years back, the harbor master did it without being specific. I don't have that good a memory anymore, but I think he did.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just,
Can I ask the back of the room?
from the back of the room,
The back of the room.
if he wishes, if his,
Got the way back.
if his
Middle of the room.
institutional memory goes back that far.
What are you asking, Dominic?
Didn't the harbor ma, didn't a few town meetings back ago, the harbor master did the same thing? He consolidated a bunch of, money that wasn't allocated for certain things?
No.
Don't believe so.
What you're
Okay,
talking about here is taking money from free cash,
okay.
okay? When you take money from free cash, normally what happens, most departments at the end of the year return whatever they don't use. When you're talking about buying a bus, it's a capital item, it's the herds on the capital.
Well, he used that as an
It is an
example.
example.
Okay,
I'm just,
but what about the way this is written? Should it go back to free cash?
Excuse me, Dominic, that's our
Okay.
opinion.
Oh, okay, okay, all right.
Selectmen have already-
I already voted.
I'm not
All right,
gonna
all right,
go
all
into
right,
that.
all right, let it go. You answered my original question, thank you.
So, I mean, what you're describing is just that there's a procedural flaw in this. So it's
Yes.
just unfortunate that it took until now for us to be advised of that. Because we've, been,
I take issue with that comment.
Town council didn't see a flaw in
exactly,
it.
right, selectmen didn't see a flaw in it. And if we had known, then we,
As I say, that's our opinion.
yeah, and
And we're gonna
I
vote our
understand.
opinion.
But you understand our frustration in that we've gotten to this point where it's too late now for this town meeting for us to make any change. If a change were to be made, as you talking.
Any other questions, concerns? No? Thank you very much. We'll take our votes later on in the evening, if they wish to, or they'll, depending upon how the committee wants to do.
Can I just ask why you do that? Could you not vote while we're here? So that we don't,
We just typically close everything up and review everything, that's all.
I would just like
It's
to,
up to the committee. I don't just make the decision.
You're
They
welcome to
wanna do
stay
it?
and wait till we vote, I mean, it's all public.
I'll vote now, I don't care.
right,
If somebody makes a motion,
I'll vote now, I mean, it's.
No, let's do it.
I'll make a motion, we go with article numbers.
I just call the meeting to order, it's the only reason I'm here.
That's the, what article number is it, guys?
not that I wouldn't love to stay for your whole meeting.
Number 10?
Article 10.
I'll make a motion to approve Article 10, favorable action.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Questions? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
No. Motion's lost. Disapproved.
And not because there's anything wrong or under the table about it or anything like that, it just is a procedure.
Yeah. Pure procedural.
Maybe you should ask town council to see if you can make a motion to, that's the word I'm looking
It's not
for.
town council who does that, that's,
Yeah, I mean,
No, but you could amend the motion.
so
That's
either way
moderator.
this is moving
No.
forward, it's just gonna say that the finance committee voted not favorable.
Disapproved, correct.
Yeah.
And our explanation will say procedural.
Right,
Okay.
okay. All right, and you're
thank
not
you.
voting on the other article, is that true?
Which one?
McKinney-Vento?
Oh, that's,
That's housekeeping.
So
that's a housekeeping
that's
article.
later, okay,
That's going.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Well, that will be referred to town meeting or depending, whatever issue it is. it's
No,
gonna be
we already
approved.
voted on McKinney-Vento.
Did we?
Yes, we already voted on that.
Oh, we did, yeah.
We approved
Yeah.
it.
All right, thank you.
You approved that
McKinney-Vento,
one.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You know, I want you three guys to have a poker game with me. You have more tells than you can believe.
More what?
It's
More
not
tells
about,
than you can
it's not
believe. I
about
watch your body
tells.
language and all, and
It's not about tells, it's about
Oh,
just.
I'm fine.
Just.
no, you have tells too.
I don't know.
Do you
I know
have,
you're
Just
reading
say
it
the
right.
Finance committee meeting,
oh, do you have,
answer questions, that's all.
do you have an extra copy of what you?
Oh, I can give them that.
Oh, great, thank you. Thanks.
On that particular one, I should have, I did a voice vote, and I said it was no. I would ask for a count though.
It was 2-5.
250. How do we, always confuses me, that we're supposed to do these in the affirmative. So does somebody now make a
No,
motion?
that was
to
an
check this?
affirmative motion
Okay.
that failed.
That failed, yeah.
Yeah, the motion was to recommend.
I did approve,
Yeah, no, you
yes.
did, yeah,
Yeah.
you did right, no, no.
Okay.
But we gotta make sure that in the town meeting, this doesn't get approved,
It was
That's
two,
approved.
it was 2-5-0.
yeah, but I mean.
That was our vote.
But it's
our
still gonna come for
presentation.
the town meeting.
It's still
in
coming
this
to town
way.
meeting.
So
Yeah.
somehow we've gotta say that it's not an appropriate format or
I'll do my best to
procedure,
write it up.
huh?
I'll do my best and circulate it.
Yeah.
So you gotta write that one up, Stuart, okay.
A, there was nothing wrong with it, but the procedure was flawed.
Okay, that's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't
We'll let
necessarily
the,
agree
we'll,
with that.
we'll let the attorney take care of the language.
The left-handed attorney.
Okay, to review the other town meeting articles that we have no information on Article 3, which is the capital plan. No information on transfer of free cash. Pretty definite, we don't have any unpaid bills. I believe that's gonna end up in a consent. Do you have that kind of information, Claire?
I don't have, I'll have to wait to see.
Sufficient information as yet?
When Derek was in the other day, he said there wasn't any,
Yeah.
and he knew of.
Yeah, Eric said that at Selectmen's meeting.
Yeah, last night.
Yeah, there was no
Said that,
unpaid
so-
bills. So we just,
That's not a big deal.
motion to refer. May I have a motion to refer that one then, please?
I'll make a motion to refer.
Can I have a second?
What does that mean?
This-
Just refer to town meeting, and it goes through a consent agenda.
Oh, okay.
Motion's made and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The union contracts, I believe there's some that have been settled, and there's one or two that have ratification, but then again, there's a couple others that are also continuing in negotiations. We have 11 unions that we deal with, or excuse me, I already wrote up the recommendation to this, not a recommendation, but an explanation. Why, and I commented that we have the good fortune of not being involved in union negotiations. But let's see, Derek will come forward with any information for the presentation. The transfer of monies to the school
Can I
fund.
ask one thing, wait a minute,
We
contracts?
already took care of that, beg your pardon?
The union contracts, just a,
What about, certain,
these contracts get settled, will we have a meeting for a recommendation before town meeting, even that night or sometime? Okay.
yes, we typically meet half hour to an hour prior,
Okay.
because obviously with union contracts, they can go right up to the wire.
And
That's why I'm asking before.
Transfer of free cash usually that night too.
And capital.
Could we ask Derek to summarize each of these union contracts? How much of an increase, changes in benefits, whatever was different from the last time? Because last year, as I recall, we got a list, you just said, we just settled all these, and everybody said,
Yeah, we
okay.
didn't- yeah, I agree with you, Stu. We didn't see any paperwork last year. I think you could have asked for it afterwards, but that night we didn't see it.
Well, it doesn't do us any good after
I
this.
agree with you, but
I mean-
you're right.
Not that there is, but I'd like to know if there's a 10% increase to something.
Usually the, I know he verbally would tell us what the percentage is, they get 1.5, 2.5, or whatever. But I know there's when you consider how long they've been negotiating, there's a lot of other little things go on in a contract, other than basic percentage of the increase for a year.
You got a question in the back of the room?
Yes,
I'll do that, Claire, also. We have 4 union contracts that are we're basically agreed to. We have one more, looks like it's gonna come through. But we usually have executive session to go over the details, and then we go back into a regular session, and then we vote to ratify. So the information becomes public at that time anyways.
correct.
So the information you're asking for is available, as far as that goes. But the union stuff, Claire can explain as well. Normally, all we're doing is we're ratifying the contract.
It would be helpful if you had the meetings though a week before, and that
Well,
they,
we expect next week to probably most likely ratify.
There's a lot of
Five
information
contracts.
that's public.
Problem
I'm just
is,
asking that somebody
know, that-
organize this in a simple fashion to look
Yeah,
at.
I think we'll have a quorum. Obviously, I won't be there because of the Jewish Yom Kippur holidays, so that's Tuesday night. But I'm expecting 5 more. Free cash, just so you understand, probably at best would be the 21st of October.
Yeah, I talked with Judy Monday, she was working on it.
But, you know, that's probably the best you can expect it.
Hmm.
That's out of our hands.
And Article 14, the Shangri-La Playground. We didn't vote on that.
Somebody was asking for some more specs or something, you know.
That was me. When the night they presented it, I wanted to see a plan and I wanted to see a budget.
Right.
I mean, I'm not opposed to the playground. Again, you can call it a procedural thing, call it whatever you want, but I think seeing what the building would be nice in approximate cost of what things are gonna be. I don't think I think they're doing a great job with all the in-kind.
I think, that, yeah, did you get a copy?
I've never seen that.
Oh, she probably perhaps didn't have enough. We'll arrange to have them.
That's a copy of the playground?
Yes,
That's it?
he'll have it all for you before, in 5 minutes here.
Let me read it to you 1 second.
Now, while Dominant's doing that, are there any articles that we have voted on that you would like to discuss and possibly reconsider? That sounds good to me.
Silence is good sometimes.
Indeed, indeed. Monday, as far as our cover is concerned, in the past, we've always had something regarding the town on the cover, picture or photo or something of that nature. And I asked around for suggestions and I didn't hear anything.
Just a total budget. It
But,
says nothing. It's not what he wants.
Oh, but then I thought, well, I talked to Gene, who's the president of the Historical Society, and I thought postcards from Onset,
I have a whole bunch
haven't,
of old ones.
old ones, I was, yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm meeting with her at Monday at
You
10
talking
down
about
the
the CD or
library.
the?
Pardon?
I mean, the Wareham Community TV did a CD on
Yeah.
Onset with a,
Yes.
with a
Yeah.
whole
Oh, really?
series of interviews
Yeah.
and everything else.
A series of those old pictures and like have been popping up on Facebook of late, and they intrigued me because they're something that definitely a day gone by.
I'll get you a copy of the CD. It's very good.
Oh, appreciate that. But we,
Maybe you want to consider the construction that's going on, the bathhouse, the school,
mhm.
What's happened down with, the nail center, that re-emergence of that aluminum building.
Hmm.
I mean, if you want to just show that the town is not always looking backward. I mean, you could
Well,
take
they
that
were
a step
easy
forward
to-
at the construction site. I mean, they're moving pretty quickly.
Yeah,
In
they are.
my opinion, they're moving pretty quickly up there. You know, like I said, that may be and then some old pictures of things from the past to say, you know, this is the direct, you know, the past and the present. I mean, I
Or a
can't
year ago
design the
today,
cover.
you know, you could,
I have a whole bunch.
Well, the mock-up of the couple is gone.
Don't even get into that.
I mean, I probably got like 90 old bunches. I used to collect them.
Did you?
Yeah, I have a book of them. I'll bring it in and show you. A
Yeah,
lot of cool stuff.
bring it
That would
down
be
to the
good.
store and I'll pick it up from there if you don't mind.
And I just gotta find it at the
Find
house,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
I know, I got an idea
Yeah.
where it is, yeah. Do you know that there was a trolley track that drove down Onset Ave
yeah.
for 5 cents? I have the coins that were, it says Onset,
Now, you're gonna tell me you
No
used to
way.
take that trolley?
no. My dad did, I'm not that old. But, the bathhouse now, I used to go down there, put a nickel in the locker, You change there and shower there, oh yeah, the old bathhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
The
my
only
wife
problem-
was teasing me, I didn't remember the taffy store that was down there.
We used, yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she
oh,
said,
yeah.
you don't
So,
remember that? I said,
Like
came
the
in my head
yeah.
for breakfast some days, never mind that.
We used to put the lifeguard stations inside there, oh yeah.
Well, I know the photos are the easier ones, of the old ones, they're easier to get to. As you point out, Tom, with the progressor making down, I'm not a big one on taking all those pictures. So maybe we'll go with the other one. Keep that in mind, though, for our main report that we do for the annual town meeting or the April town meeting. That'll be good for progress, and that's the best place to put it there. We'll get more.
The
And
horse
clear-
track.
The horse, yeah. And Santa Anita had another horse died.
I'd love to see it.
They've had
The
5 died so
lifeguard-
far
the
this year.
lifeguards in the 1970s.
Claire,
the
do you
lifeguards
have,
used to rake
Guesstimate
the
what kind of a
beach.
turnout you may
See, we
anticipate at
raked
this,
it by hand.
I don't, I mean, I'm hoping with electronic voting that we'll see a higher number. I think, you know, hopefully that will,
well, higher number. Last time I did 350 and we ran out.
I have planned on 500 handhelds. Just to be on the safe side, I
Yeah.
don't think that we would need that, but, you know, I'm hopeful that with electronic voting, it will encourage people to come, that they won't be intimidated, that they're sitting with a neighbor who might talk to them out in the parking lot after about the way they voted. That, you know, this will now be private, and I'm hoping that more people will see that that's, you know, better for them and more comfortable.
I'll have to check with our secretary to see how we did copying of the reports in prior years.
Not $2,600 worth though, we don't.
No,
There's a printer downtown we used to use.
you didn't do it in-house at all.
We did it several times, but it always had glitches when we
Yeah.
did that.
Like the last time we did it, kept breaking on
Yeah.
us.
It has been done, but we used to use, the printer downtown.
No, it's not expensive to have it done by
No.
the printers, it's cheap.
No,
You
I
just
was
put it
just
on
wondering
paper,
how they did it prior to.
He hasn't earned the business.
Staples.
Or Staples.
He has not earned the business.
No, in the past, but I think he may have learned now, because we haven't used him in a while.
There's another place out on the Cranberry Highway too.
Yeah.
That's what I use, you know.
Okay,
I
yeah,
switched.
you can look into that.
I get an estimate on, I'd say 250, have at least 15 to 20 pages.
Kelly, if you're gonna
I
get
don't-
prices, the one out on the Cranberry Highway is Ocean Graphic. The one in town, I forget the name.
Yeah, I know.
Was that
Gateway.
Gateway? So get a price from both.
Yeah, and Staples also,
Staples will be high.
probably, but I like the comparison anyway, because they're the prominent name.
Okay.
Are we
Okay.
gonna vote on the playground, or are we gonna,
Shangri-La.
Shangri-La? We're gonna vote on that?
Yes.
Okay.
If you found,
That was.
So he wants a breakdown.
yeah,
That's
that's
just a
what
total
what they
price.
said, they
We're
gave us.
voting
that
on
evening.
$200,000, we're not voting
220.
on the playground, right?
Correct,
Isn't that the
Right.
vote?
It's 220, isn't it?
220,
220.
yes,
From CPA funds?
Yep.
yes.
CPA.
Okay, whatever it is, but.
I'll make a motion for satisfactory approval on Article 14.
Motion's made, may I have a second, please?
Second.
Motion's made and second by Dominic and Stewart. Any other questions, concerns? There being none, yes,
One thought on this is, on most of the other playgrounds, there's a significant contribution by the neighbors. On this particular one, there is not.
Yeah, just help, yeah.
It's just help.
Lukey Playground, which was the last one that was done major, it was mostly help and in-kind stuff that people did. The same thing's happening here with the playground at Shangri-La. There are people who will be there doing physical work, moving dirt, etc. So it's the same ballpark. You have citizens that are gonna take care of the playground. They make commitments after the fact, because municipal maintenance be hard present. So it really is not much different.
I believe in her presentation, she even, excuse me, was very strong on a number of in-kind contributions she's received. People are doing work for her.
From contractors.
Contractors, yes indeed.
Good.
And it was significant, and it's what difficulty is to put a dollar value on all those in-kind contributions and all, which would give obviously a good comparison between the 220,000. But again, it's very difficult to tie those.
If they don't spend it, it goes back to CPC, so.
Indeed.
Right.
Anything else?
No, but it'll be, in the presentation, it should be made that there is expected to be $100,000 worth of, or whatever it may be, out of community support for this.
That makes sense, Dave.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, I went up and looked at where the playground's going, and for lack of a better word, it's a rattle right now. You know, so I'm not opposed to the playground, I was just, you know,
You wanted more
I
information.
just want more information, and, you know, if I could be convinced if I knew they were gonna come forward at town meeting and explain to the full body that, you know, this is kind of an idea is what we're doing, you know, we're gonna put I don't think they use jungle gyms anymore, but we're gonna put a jungle gym over here and a monkey bars over here, and
Now, would you be more comfortable if she came before us again? I could talk to her and see if she'll come next week?
no, she did a great job, she made a great presentation, you know, I don't think she could really add a lot more. My whole thing is I just wanted to see it, you know.
You want like an architectural design, something
No,
like
no,
that?
as I said last week, the soccer people came in with their thing, and they gave out too much information. I mean, they just had a book this thick
Yeah.
with everything, and they estimated the in-kind work that they were getting done, in estimates, and I
No, I
get
agree
that
with
part.
you, I agree.
You know, and they had a nice diagram, that's why I said to the gentleman there, geez, could you draw something for the playground? You know, that's all, you know, I mean, they did a great job with it, and they were just looking for 40,000. I think 220 is a lot of money, and I think the town meeting representatives deserve to see where the 200, and I know they'll give the money back, and I don't think they're gonna
Right.
spend it all, I'm not
No,
disputing
I don't
any
know
of
if they
that.
will, they won't, but I mean.
You know, because they get a lot of contractors that are willing to do work in kind for a little bit of money.
And
What?
keep in mind, though, that these people, they're all volunteers, there's no specific organization, there's
Yep.
not a 401c3 organization or anything of that nature. It's done out of a dining room table, things of that nature, everyone collectively get together. I give them a lot of credit for doing so.
Yep.
And I would be reluctant to say no. I agree that I'd like to see something more definitive on the support that goes along with the 220,000.
That area's never asked for 10 cents, as long as I can remember.
No, it's 1,500 homes there, they're all
Yeah.
small.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it's, yeah, I'm not trying to discourage you, I agree that the lack of this more definitive cost, however, the difficulty in getting them because they're on the phone and they're making the commitments.
and I understand all that, you know, you can get different things, you know, playground equipment may cost $40,000, I'm just throwing numbers out there. But
Yes.
you know, things like that, that's all, you know, and I know could go up a little, may go down a little, who knows, or what they wanna put in,
Anybody off the top of their head, recall how much Lukey cost?
That we put into it
Yes,
was about 80,000 or something like that.
yeah, that's a small playground.
Yeah, but they did a lot.
Did a lot of
They put
work.
up the shelter up there. But that space was not bad to begin with. The problem with this is the town has not, and it's the town's property, has not maintained the space. Now it looks like a bomb crater up there.
Yeah, and they got significant
So,
flooding
and
problems.
I'm
too.
saying that of the $220,000 is too much, which is about a third of the CPC's annual intake, to go into a playground where the town has not, a lot of that money is gonna be spent just in preparing the area for the equipment. I'm for the playground, I'm against the amount.
Any other discussion?
Just one other thought. We do have a citizens' participation part of this, each meeting. And I'd like to encourage anyone who's coming forth, like this playground association, just come before us and say, we're planning on doing this. What sort of a presentation would you like to see? What should we bring forth to make sure this goes through? And I think that we have another one with the plastic bags this year. But I think in particular with citizen petitions or citizen requests for support, it would be advantageous to have them come to a meeting and just talk to us about the program before they make their write-up for town meeting. And I'm sure that this group would be very happy to work with them.
With this particular issue, I would, I really don't, from my perspective, I'm gonna vote approval of that, and the reason I'm gonna do so is I wouldn't wanna discourage all these people who volunteered and all these people who are willing to give in kind from these contractors and all. Any discouragement to continue on for the next cycle, because if they have to come back and do it again, all of these people may not be available to them. They've made this commitment, it's fresh in their minds, it's like anything else we volunteer for. We're great for it today, but if we gotta wait 2 or 3 months, we're gonna find something else to do. And so I would encourage you to look at it from that point of view also. I mean, just for us getting here together, for our own meetings, with the building committee, we have 21 members and trying to get a quorum together sometimes from all these volunteers. None of us are paid and we're all trying to work hard. And I would hate to see this go down. It's a very remote section of our community. It's off there and there's an awful lot of homes, as I mentioned, a lot of young families that are in there. They're all small homes. And so I would urge you to consider
Well,
that.
just so you know, I had made up my mind before I was gonna vote for it. I don't always get my own way in life, unfortunately. But I'm doing it, hopefully, moving forward. You know, I mean, you can't change what's done is done, but moving forward, just so people know if they're gonna come in front of me, I wanna see something. I'm a very, like something in my hand, something to look at.
Hands-on kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but visual things help.
On the flip side though, I don't think CPC would give out more money than they think is necessary. I mean, have they in the past? Yes. Have they not? But I mean, obviously they've looked at other playgrounds and what we've done, Tom.
5 years ago,
Yeah.
they came up and we spent $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 to look at all the playgrounds in town and come up with a recommendation what to do. We're waiting 5 years to get action on this particular space, and it's been a disaster. I mean, it has not changed a bit. And we know that we're gonna have to put surveillance in there and everything else. It's gonna be a hard one to manage.
She talked about
I
that.
blame the town for not having taken the action to get the playground into some sort of format that at least the basketball court worked, or it was functional for some purpose.
Well, she even commented that,
And it's taken 5 years to get to the point where they're even considering doing it.
but I wouldn't want to punish them for the lack of what the town hasn't done. I mean, they're enthusiastic about doing it now.
So maybe the town should contribute more of a bigger piece of the resources to make it happen. In other words, reduce the cost of doing the playground to an amount that says, rather than $220,000 out of CPC, that CPC just puts in $150,000. That's a third of their budget's going.
Right, but CPC has already agreed to do that.
They've evaluated this already.
And if the town, if Dave Menard has extra people around and can do extra work, that's fine. If it doesn't come in at that high, the money comes back.
And Dave's crew has already been out there with them. I mean, she said that she called them up, asked them to come out there, and said they were there. Clean that place up for her so they could have a beginning.
How will this be maintained going forward? Is the town going to do that?
No, local people are going to, just the way they do with Lukey and all the other playgrounds. Even Lopes has its own group that is, in fact, they're doing something, last weekend, I believe they had a meeting of something for cleaning it up, and they're raising money to augment what they're probably gonna end up with CPC, of course, and I think CPC has already assisted them in cleaning that up, because all the equipment has to be replace all that cedar stuff is now hazardous, if I recall. And it's all
Pressure
got
treated, yeah.
pre-pressure treated, all that has to be torn out.
But there's a problem with them redoing that playground.
Well, they had a
Flood
difficulty
zone.
because it's flood zone.
They said they were gonna move it up to Hammond
Has there been a motion to approve this?
on,
The Shangri-La,
Yeah.
Shangri-La.
yeah, I made a
Yes,
motion.
yes.
Oh, okay.
it's on the cook table.
It's fine.
Okay, on the motion to approve, it's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
One opposed.
One opposed. 6-1. Any abstentions? No one's alive, yeah. We're absent that. Very good, thank you.
Can I go back to this
Certainly.
school business?
Mhm.
Because I have to write this up, but I don't understand why this is a procedural issue. From my point of view, they got X amount of money at one town meeting, they didn't need it, it should go back to free cash. They don't have anything. If it's legal to do what they're trying to do, didn't we vote on the fact that we don't think they're entitled to the money for what they just put forward?
That's correct, we've rejected it.
Right, so it's not a procedural issue.
Well, from our point of, well, from my point of view, it's procedural.
The
From
money isn't
others
there.
around this
Well,
table, they could have
let's
different
back
view.
up. Let's assume that they had given the money back and came up with an article saying, we want the money we gave back for what they said. I would have said no. So what I don't understand is why this is procedural, that's all. This was we voted on the substance of their request.
What-
I think Bernie says that by law it has to go back, is that what you're trying to say?
Well,
But they
no, I
said
say
the
if-
lawyer said it didn't.
I
They're-
I don't know about, I mean, they
They're
said
asking
that,
for-
maybe he didn't look into it enough, I don't know what the law is.
They're asking for these funds to go into operational accounts. That's my problem with it, for one. For two, if they were to say, it's $80,000 and we use the bus, let's continue with the bus. To purchase, we have collectively these things, and let's purchase the bus. Well, purchasing the bus would have come from free cash to begin with.
Right.
So they're just transferring all the surplus from the articles collectively to purchase a bus instead of going through the procedure of putting this back into free cash and then have another article for the purchase of a bus from free cash. It's just a technicality,
So if they had done that, would you have voted yes for this?
yes. It would have been a practical use of free cash.
But it wouldn't have been those specific dollars.
I wouldn't know, I would have said no.
I think the issue is that they've already gotten a budget for this year
Correct.
approved in April. And this is already a
That's
violation of
what I
that
thought.
budget.
In excess of that. It's
That's what I
in
thought.
addition to.
So I'm just trying to figure what rationale we're gonna give. I don't think, to say to town meeting that this is simply a procedural screw-up, that's silly. I mean, if I were sitting out there, I'd go, big deal.
Well, you can also say that they have a new finance person, they've had a new finance person over there.
Oh,
Michael's no
no,
longer there.
Sue's gone.
Yeah, but I mean,
But they
when
did
all
have,
this was
They had
going
time,
on.
yeah.
So was there, so you can say a personnel change within the office who didn't quite understand the procedures, is that a,
Bernie, question through you, I'd like
I'm
to
sorry.
give my question to Alan.
that's what I would,
Yes, well,
You had your hand up, you have 2 cents, is it legal, what they're trying to do?
Oh, yeah.
Claire and I just talked very quickly. The decision that Rich Bone made was talking about whether or not the monies were borrowed or whether it was free cash. His decision was based on borrowed. It had nothing to do with free cash.
So it's nothing to do with the quality of this article?
So we don't know if it's legal or not.
We didn't get into that.
Question wasn't
So
asked.
if you're asking me the null procedure, CPC is a really good example. What CPC has at the end of a project, and it's on, I believe, it's on this particular warrant
It goes
article.
back, yeah.
They return it back. In the same warrant article, they could also take some money that was, we won't say that's returned, but just say, now we're asking for this particular project, X number of dollars, because things change. To go into the playground stuff, so we understand, CPC doesn't just award a number because they pick it out, other people ask for it. They require, and they should be able to come back and talk to you about what the equipment is, et cetera. what the actual breakdown is, because that's how they do it. CPC pays as the construction is done by actual bills. They don't pay, the people who are doing Shangle Out Playground, here's $220,000, good luck.
Right,
They
right.
only get paid by invoice. There's no games there at all.
Well, I'm not questioning the
but
oversight
I'm
or
saying,
any of that, yeah, and I understand how it works,
What you're asking for should be available to you, because CPC would approve it. The money based on it would be based on what they're asking for equipment, labor, et cetera. So if you ask CPC to come back next week, they should be able to supply everything. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's how it normally works. That's how Wiki was done. That's how the Oakdale playground was done. And you have to understand too, when we did the study for the playgrounds, basically it came back, municipal maintenance only wanted to maintain 2 playgrounds. That's all they could afford to maintain. That's all they had the staff for. So any playgrounds going forward after 2 was gonna have to have citizens involved, and citizens would have to step up to maintain. And that's basically how Lookie's working, that's how Shangri-La's working. Swiss Beach is asking for their playground to be done. Unless the citizens of Swiss Beach step up and do something, it's not gonna happen. So if you're asking the town to step up and put more money into a playground, that's not happening. That's not what the decision was, that's not what the end result was of this study.
But my question to you is like what Stuart wanted to know. Is what the school's asking to do legal?
In the way they're doing it, let me do it much easier.
I'm not
Appearance-wise and public relations-wise, the answer is no. They should not be doing it this way. They should basically be returning the money, which would make everybody happy, and having a separate article asking for these items, if they're allowed to ask for them. These items are additional items over and above the budget for 2020.
This is augmenting, my point of view, this is augmenting their
Existing budget.
operational account.
Okay.
I mean, that's all, it's not that they're trying to do anything wrong, they just have monies that, some of these monies are left over for 3 and 4 years. We're getting rid of the Deacon School, we've already torn down the minor schools, some of these projects involve both those schools. That's why the money wasn't spent. So technically, should the money come back to free cash? Yeah. And then it should be then when the free cash is listed again, the problem is when you return the money, it doesn't come back right away as being available in free cash either, depending on how you submit your report and everything. If they were to return it now, it won't show up till the following year's budget.
Right.
Which would be a year from now, just so you know. So I understand everybody's arguments back and forth, but I think it's perception and everything else. It's nothing really wrong, what they're asking for, it's just the way it's coming through. There should have been 2 articles, in my opinion, and again, I'm not a lawyer.
That's what I had
I'm
to,
certainly not the moderator.
be something specific, it's still ambiguous, it's going into an operational account. Technology for furniture replacements, they typically do that within operations. Door replacement, typical within their operational account. Small equipment replacement, typically within their operational. And it's technology, well, and I looked that up too, it's got 690,000 in it. And so I wouldn't suggest they need it right now, it's too early in the year.
Also, if you remember the state law and everything else that you guys have to work with, the school department has always run up to sometimes when they want to move money from one account to another, you have that 5% number you're only allowed to
Yeah,
move.
that's their maximum.
Just so you understand, none of these particular pieces here hit that threshold.
Right.
I don't know if
You're
I
more
helped
confused
out.
now, right?
Confused you more, sorry.
It can be,
Very
just,
simple to me, I just,
Yeah, I
you know,
I
trying to
think
reflect
something
this.
we all have an opinion and try to put them together in a report.
And explain that 5%. In other words, they could have transferred money from these?
You can
No.
transfer down in accounts, because remember, the school department submits, one number anyways, but
Right.
beforehand they list it. You're allowed to basically move up to 5% of, no more than 5% of a particular item that's budgeted during the year to another account. When you-
Maximum 5%.
If you go over 5%, then you run into a problem. Your problem with DOR.
Yeah, so they have $33 million, they can move only 5% of that around
I
anywhere.
don't believe anything there, because I looked at it, I don't think anything there hits 5%.
No,
So these are more than 5% or less than that?
Less.
Less.
So you said,
5% of what number? I mean, some of these are
Whatever
50% of what they got.
Whatever the monies that you have there listed, whatever account they went into for the 2019 budget as an example, say it has to do with IT equipment, say they have $400,000 in there, and they have, say they had $10,000 left, 5% would be what, $20,000? Or 400,000,
So they could have moved it.
if it was there. But this is sitting for different things, so they can't really,
These are separate from that account.
Okay.
they can't really move.
These accounts could not have been moved.
No,
Okay.
within their operational
That's
budget.
that was
that
my
we voted
question.
in
I was
April.
gonna say if they could have just moved them, but they should have
No,
moved
I
them.
don't think
Okay.
so.
No,
All right, thank you.
no, this was never part of their
Okay,
operational account to
well,
begin
thank
with.
you. I understand.
So anything?
Nope.
Nope.
Asked a lot of stupid questions, I know. It's
No,
all
no,
right.
no
No.
such thing, stupid.
Nope.
Okay, moving
Don't give
along.
up, that's it.
Richard, Richard Swenson is part of the, well, excuse me, he is on the redevelopment, he's also on planning. But he has an idea of a Congress and putting together several committees or groups, committees, excuse me, planning board, zoning, et cetera, and trying to get us all together on the same page. I think that's his overall objective. And he'd like to come and talk before us with respect to that issue. And I just told him we're a little preoccupied right now. I talked to him today. And not a problem. When you get this all put together, he'll come in and he'd like to discuss that issue. He's doing this himself. He's not part of redevelopment or planning board. He's not acting as any agent other than himself, as being interested in the community. And he's gone through talking with several others, including the board he's on, planning board and redevelopment. But it's more or less, I think it's almost a parallel to what the selectmen are doing with the master plan. Trying to get everybody on the same page, work together going forward.
And have them coming up to town meeting?
Yeah.
Good.
And also, Mass Municipal is having their annual breakfast. And I find it always interesting. They have various seminars that's taking place on October 26th at the Bridgewater State. Goes from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. They have very interesting seminars. Normally the speakers are fellow town committee people. And let me see if I can get, what are their, oh, I lost that page. But I'll forward the details to you, tell you what the seminars that they run, usually 2 in the morning.
You said it was the
1 in afternoon.
26th?
Yes, 26th of October.
I've been to a couple of them, they're quite interesting.
Indeed. The people, as I said, who do the presentation are town meeting people themselves. And so they know exactly the limitations we work under, what we should be doing. And some of the articles, I find, holy crap. I said, in the context of how we get involved and how deep they are often involved in it. There is one, I can't remember the gentleman's name now, he's on the board. They even have an office in the town hall. And he's very involved in finance outside of that. And so he's excellent presenter and always has good handouts.
Probably the gentleman from Arlington.
I think so. I just associate with him with a pictorial he gave out of a frog being eaten by a duck, and his caption is, "Don't give up," because the frog has his hands out and he's throttling the duck.
Arlington is used as a template for finance committees for their financial reports, etc.
Hmm.
They have a history of 28 years now of whatever they bring forward gets voted.
And you know what day of the week that is?
Being
I'll be
a
Saturday.
being a board member of the Mass Municipal Association, I would highly recommend people go to these events. Also, if you look at the rules and regs that we have, bylaws, etc., everybody here is supposed to do continual education as part of the job as a finance committee member. So you're actually supposed to go to these places, and if they charge $30 or $40 fee, it's reimbursable by the town.
Yeah.
So,
Excuse me, what did that by me again?
you heard me.
I was about to advise that we don't have a budget for it.
I just told you that normally when you go to classrooms like this, whether it's the
You can
planning
submit it
board,
to the administrator.
conservation, zoning, selectmen training, et cetera, finance committee. That's all reimbursable by the town, the education, it's part of the policies.
I think we,
Good to
can
know.
we retro bill?
No,
I don't think so.
no,
If you still have your
Unpaid
receipt.
bills.
sorry, too foul.
I don't have my receipts.
I didn't keep mine either.
But I would appreciate if you guys go. It supports the MMA, which does a lot of good things.
Good.
Good. And it's nearby, so not a problem. We had to go up to Devon's the last time. Okay, anything else, gentlemen? Ladies? I wasn't gonna forget you.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
So nothing next week? Town meeting probably?
Isn't it, Russ?
Yes, I don't think there's any issue. The outstanding articles, I think,
Give them a night of town meeting?
that out. And I don't see there's any controversy from them other